Captain's Log Supplemental. We've arrived at Hamta to assist with a diplomatic request from one of the factions on the world. One of the planet's premier military powers has begun to realize their ambitions of a unified planet through military means, as happened so often in our own history. The difference here being that the Hamus, as they call themselves, are lacking in opposable thumbs. Their warfare usually proceeds with half of their forces being fitted with a saddle apparatus, and the second half riding them as steeds and engaging in combat with sharp claws. This new military superpower has developed firearms controllable with those claws. I would normally say that might be intimidating, but, well, the Hamus are hamsters. Not a single one stands taller than a squirrel. They're built like furry tennis balls. They carry their field rations in their cheek pockets. So far, our biggest hurdle with initiating a dialogue is finding members of the crew that don't either swoon over their inherent cuteness or laugh at the absurdity of the situation.
Welcome back to another episode of Captain's Log Supplemental. I am Chris, and as always, I'm joined by Robertson. Or Rob, if you prefer.
Hello.
And, of course, our friend Stanford as well.
Hey there!
So, just as a quick recap, each week we would cover another episode of Star Trek. In this case, Enterprise is what we're watching right now, marching ahead in chronological order by the start date the series started with. Just as a quick heads up, we're obviously a new podcast, and we would very much appreciate you taking the time to rate and review the podcast on whichever platform you listen to us on. The reviews are very helpful and go a long way in helping us kind of grow and get other listeners.
I like that it definitely, like, we can tell you didn't read that. Like, you definitely didn't have I'm reading this tone the whole time.
Good.
I mean, as opposed to when I do it.
I've never heard Chris talk that fast.
That's because I was like half reading and like half mixing it up, so it didn't quite sound exactly the same. Okay, so this episode is episode 15, Shadows of Pajem. We start on Earth, and the Vulcans are bitching to old Admiral Forrest there about the Enterprise crew's discovery and revealing of the listening post on Pajem to the Andorians.
I think you mean gaslighting.
I mean, sure. Yeah, they're definitely a little bit of that going on.
I love the Vulcan uniform robes. Like, it's like someone took a smoking robe and then added more and more to it, like every time you saw them.
Just fancier and fancier. Admiral Forrest does a good job, sticking up for the Enterprise, and kind of calls them out on their bullshit.
Although, like, why is he in charge of this? Like, he's just the the Joint Chiefs of Staff aren't in charge of ambassadorial stuff. Like, why is the random dude in charge of the military?
Well,
shouldn't there be a president involved?
Doesn't this go to support your theory that Starfleet's a military junta?
I guess I know that it is. I know that Starfleet is a military junta, but I still feel like they should have like a token. Like, they should have some guy who's the president who's just sitting back there looking meek.
I mean, the president of like the Federation later on, like, there's definitely like characters that are introduced that are labeled the president, but they're mostly just, stage pieces. Yeah. Anyway, Vulcans are pissed off, and they say joint fleet ops between Vulcans and Earth have been suspended. Boo-hoo. Anyway, we join the Enterprise, and of course, mealtime, and Trip and Archer are chit-chatting about this new planet they're going to visit that they found in the Vulcan database. And Archer does a little good-natured trickery and pretends like Trip doesn't get to go, and talks about how all the spaceships are really cool and stuff, and it's a shame he doesn't get to go.
Poor Trip. I felt so bad. He looked like a hurt puppy this whole time.
He did. Just sad puppy dog eyes about not getting to go. Which is funny because Archer jokes about him not going, and then later on he actually doesn't get to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you see the salt shaker?
I did see this. I specifically looked for the salt shaker because you mentioned it. I would not have seen it if you had not pointed it out.
So fucking fancy and futuristic.
Sure it is.
You gotta shimmy your salt out over your thing like a fucking, I don't even know, like one of those grenades that the Germans had in World War II, like the potato masher grenades. Yeah.
Good stuff. And some potatoes. Anyway, so we find out that the Adorians bombed Pajem, although we're very courteous and told the Vulcans to leave before they bombed the shit out of it. So that's, good on them. But the orders soon come in that T'Pol has been, ordered off the Enterprise, obviously, since joint fleet maneuvers or whatever have stopped. T'Pol has to leave the Enterprise because the Vulcans are mad. The scene with Archer telling T'Pol is just like what is, he's been with T'Pol this whole time, and he's disappointed she's not emotional about it. What are you expecting?
Yeah, my note here is, for fuck's sake, she's a Vulcan. Why are we constantly surprised when she's emotionless and pragmatic?
Right. It's what are we expecting here? What?
After all the tension between them, though, it was kind of nice to see Archer trying to stick up for her.
Sure, I'll give him that.
I don't know that I agree, because I'm not sure he was sticking up for her as much as he just wants her to stick with him because she's valuable.
He's emotionally connected, though, I think.
Maybe a little bit.
The big thing he pointed out was, she's a part of his crew. And, all his faults aside, he does seem to really care about the well-being of his crew.
I will say this scene is where I first started a trend in the notes for today. Where, cause she's like, the monastery thing was my fault. I shouldn't have let you go. And Archer's like, don't you take any credit. And my notes is I'm the doer. I'm a big boy. It was me doing big boy things. And Archer declaring that he's a big boy, at least emotionally or metaphorically, is just a recurring theme through this whole episode.
Big boy pants. So we cut to a scene where Phlox is kind of talking to Paul and
in his official comfy medical sweater.
Right. He's also part ship's counselor. I think at this point he seems to be the emotional chatter with a lot of the characters.
Yeah, 100%.
And T'Pol in a very Vulcan way is very woe is me, everything's my fault, It's the logical conclusion. I messed up. It's all me. But, Phlox kind of talks her down, I guess, a little bit. And mentions there's a going away party being planned, although I was disappointed we never got to see the actual going away party. I wanted to see what that was going to be like.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that internet picture that went around where it's someone wanted a generic birthday cake, so the cake is just black and white and labeled cake, and the decorations are just decorations? That's what I imagine a Vulcan going away party is.
It is your birthday. So, as I mentioned before, Archer ditches Trip and decides to take T'Pol on one last ride before she has to go.
I don't like how that came out.
No.
And yet appropriate for how one of these scenes unfolded later on. I'm pretty sure Scott Bakula had some script input on this one. Anyway, so the shuttle pod takes off. Archer and T'Pol are going to visit, and Archer still doesn't understand Vulcans. Continues to try to bond and make small talk with T'Pol, and she's just kind of yeah, okay, yep. When all of a sudden the ship is closing on the shuttle and fires on them, and they go down, and I'm pretty sure they ran out of effects budget after the first couple scenes.
100%.
Because it's like oh the room's shaking. Oh wait, and we wake up and they're tied up.
The scene wasn't even halfway done. There was supposed to clearly be an exciting aerial duel, and then it's commercial break, and then it's completely resolved.
Yep. I'm that. They blew 100% of the effects budget on that 30 seconds of CG.
Yeah, like, can you imagine if they actually did finish all that CG and then, like, they're getting prepped to make the cut for the last show, and it's like, well, we need to cut, like, 2 minutes to fit it into the hour. What are we going to cut? And they cut, like, the entire thing explaining how they wind up on the surface of the planet. Like, just completely gone. Oh, we're all tied up in a room now. Sorry.
It was a
very rough cut between scenes.
And like that's a good point. Maybe they did have that filmed and then like didn't because like not only do we lose like the end of the aerial combat footage,
right?
But also
them
like
being captured,
them crashing and being captured.
Yeah.
Yeah, it left this weird situation where they had to explain the entire existence of this faction, right? This breakaway faction, and like you just kind of get talked at about them instead by the Chancellor.
Right.
Which, by the way, do they have any security forces around their capital city? Like, just these guys are just flying freely above the capital city, intercepting, alien vessels. There's just nothing else going on.
So anyways,
after the rough, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, like, I understand that they did have to make some cuts to the footage because we did have a lot of, like, really necessary lingering shots of everybody tied up in this creepy fetishistic way. So, like, they can't cut that shit.
Yeah, clearly. So, speaking of which, we cut to them being tied up weirdly. The captors come say hi. We have a little back and forth. The lead captor guy is surprised when Archer says he's the one in command, and it's not the Vulcan who's in command. But T'Pol, quickly thinking on her feet, I guess, or butt, I guess in this case, and she's sitting down, it calls the captain the steward of the ship.
Mm-hmm. I have like Bakula gave her this look that was like a steward. Couldn't be a cool job. I'm a big boy. I'm a big boy doing big boy things. So like, and I guess she's just gonna lie because she just straight up lied. There was no nuance. There was no like, well, Vulcans can stretch the truth or like make inference. She just straight up lied to these people. Even though it was like a big deal that Vulcans do not lie. And that comes up in many series.
Like, don't they have to play it like the Aes Sedai from Wheel of Time where they can't tell outright lies, so they just kind of give you varying degrees of truth instead?
Mm-hmm.
Well, unfortunately, we don't have like a Wheel of Time expert here in the channel.
So I don't understand the whole point of the lie there. Like what were they trying to accomplish exactly? They weren't like threatening the captain or anything like that at that point. Like
I don't know. It seemed like she was trying to play into their understanding that the Vulcans would be in charge because they did know who Vulcans were, but not humans. But it didn't gain them any tactical advantage. Right. So I don't know why it mattered.
I thought that it was more a building of T'Pol's like characters situation, I guess, because like it's clear from the talk that she's got with Archer and from her talking with Phlox, like she really doesn't feel like the punishment she's receiving is justified, considering the fact that the Vulcans really did have an illegal espionage post built underneath of a religious institution, which is super shitty. But like I think that it was supposed to show that she's still in like that depressed Vulcan woe is me state where like, I might not make it out of this alive. And even if I do, I don't know that I want to kind of way. That's how I took it.
Perhaps. Anyway, we end up back on the Enterprise, and the Chancellor from the planet has contacted them, and they're kind of going back and forth, and the Enterprise crew is very upset, and they want to know where the captain and T'Pol are, and they want to. Go ahead.
Well, Trip comes up with a couple ideas, and every time Hoshi's like, "No, fuck you. No, I'm not trying that either. Fuck you." Like it's like, Hoshi, can we try something? Can we be a team player at least a little bit here?
So anyway, the Chancellor is just very rude. It's like, yeah, it's fine. It's not a civil war. It's totally no big deal. I'll see you later. Bye.
They're just being ransomed. Tee hee.
I have only just met her and I hate her.
Yeah, she's pretty terrible, pretty terrible. So we cut back to tied up shenanigans. Archer and T'Pol are hopping about, trying to get free. There's, some definitely BDSM things, going on here.
This whole sequence was so fucking awful.
Yeah, like they end up in like this weird hug at one point.
So so they turn around, right? Because they're tied together at the waist, and they turn around with the idea of like, well, if our hands are in front of each other, then maybe we can untie the knots. Never mind that, like, I'm not saying it's going to be the most comfortable. I'm not saying that it's like the easiest thing to do, but like they could just lift their hands over their heads in front of the other person's face.
Yeah.
Like that would have been an easier thing to do.
We had to have awkward hug talk scene, okay?
And it was, oh my God, it's so fucking unnecessary, like quote unquote sexual tension. And it's just uncomfortable.
What's sexual tension?
Uncomfortable.
I mean, there's that one part where, they fall over and, T'Pol's tits just go straight into Archer's
and
face.
And
there's a pause. Like
the linger there is so fucking atrocious.
Just like in every good anime.
That's a good point, actually.
I'm surprised Archer's nose didn't burst into a fountain of blood. Like,
yeah. Just full on. Like, there was like at least like a 5 Mississippi count.
Oh, yes.
Dude, it was so uncomfortable to watch.
It was so uncomfortable. My note here is like all in caps, sigh, I hate the early 2000s. Like, this was so fucking bad.
Yeah, it was a scene. It was a scene of Star Trek Enterprise. It was that. So they that clearly was the key to unlocking their tied up things, because they eventually break free. Unfortunately, to no avail, the guards immediately come in and are recaptured.
There's an avail, because like the guard comes in, and obviously, as you do, Archer pulls the classic back rolling upwards double kick.
It was a pretty sweet move, man. You can't argue with that.
It fucking works. Like, who am I to argue? That's third in the technical like fighting manual. It's like get the ceiling, double punch, and then the back rolling upwards double kick.
Yeah, man.
There's got to be a note somewhere in the Starfleet command guide that just explains that no matter what you do when you attack, you have to use both limbs.
Both of the same limb, yeah.
Both limbs. Yep. Oh man. So they're immediately recaptured. Right. Okay. So after the recapture, we go back to the Enterprise. Malcolm and Trip have found the shuttle pod. They're pretty sure anyway they found the shuttle pod. The captors contact the Enterprise directly and demand, weapons for their their crew members' lives. Like they want like 40 phase pistols, but the Enterprise only has like 15 anyway. So they're like, well, we can't really even give them that if we wanted to.
I don't remember what was said, but there was a moment where the captor like said something, and there was a cut to Travis's face, and he gives this expression of like, oh, this fucking guy, Jesus. And Trip is completely out of fucks with these people.
Shortly after that fun chat, they get contacted by the Vulcan ship that's on its way to collect T'Pol. And they're, as Vulcans have been so far in the series, very snooty, and say they're, the humans are just going to fuck it up, so they'll take over.
I started this series thinking that, like, I'm not going to lie, just a knee-jerk reaction. I sided with the Vulcans when they were complaining about the humans being humans. But man, I'm really starting to think that the Vulcans really are just assholes. Like, this is like a recurring theme.
They definitely portray them that way a lot.
Yeah, like it's really bad now.
Yeah, it gets less as the series go on.
And I'm not saying, I'm not saying the Andorians were justified in their bombing of historical artifacts and stuff. I am saying that the Vulcans are acting like they did nothing wrong, and it's real fucking obnoxious.
Yeah. So Captain Sopek is the name of the captain from the Vulcan ship. Gets to the Enterprise and says that it's time to go in hard and fast, full assault. Pew pew time. The humans are.
The Trip was directly offended that no one says goodbye to him. So didn't your mama teach nobody to say goodbye? What the fuck?
The humans are understandably worried about a full-on frontal assault and how their crewmates may get caught up in the crossfire. Trip hides the fact that they have found the shuttle and they make the decision to kind of go in themselves. We kind of go back to the tied up shack, and we get a little scene of T'Pol and Archer getting their customary prisoner bowl of gruel, which kind of looked like oatmeal, actually.
It actually looked like, and I bet it's what it was. Instead of oatmeal, I would say it looked more like soaked barley, like cooked barley.
That could be.
That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
And
we did get a nice fun scene of Archer flopping about, trying to like stick his face in the bowl to eat.
My note here is, oh yeah, Archer, get you some. Eat it. You're a big boy.
You have T'Pol who kind of dips her finger in her food after, he orders her to eat.
Once T'Pol, and this scene is, first of all, we open this scene with the uncomfortable pan across all of the BDSM knot tying that has been done to these two people.
Yeah, that's right.
And as soon as this scene has lingered to the point where Archer's telling T'Pol to eat, that's an order, and T'Pol kind of slowly gets down. At this point, we're filming someone's kink, right? Someone who is making this show is into this, and it's very uncomfortable when you think about it that way.
I'm uncomfortable now thinking about it that way.
It's just, oh my God, it's fucking hell. This show.
We do eventually see Archer slop is flashing, and he finds a little device in there that was hidden in his bowl of slop.
That's a bomb.
I don't know why. I very much enjoy the way you say slop, so thank you for that.
Sloppy. We cut back. Sopak wants to know where the shuttle went, and Hoshi pulls the classic 90s phone trick. Oh, you're break it up. I can't.
She pushed the static buttons. It's just a couple of buttons that just make static. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm about to go through a tunnel. Sorry.
The space tunnel. Anyway, bye. We go back to Malcolm and Trip, and they're immediately captured as soon as they land.
They immediately fail.
Yes. Full-on failure right away. Lucky for them, it's the Andorians who have captured them this time. Good old Daddy Shran is there to help rescue Archer and T'Pol.
With their badass leather jacket, the Andorian military uniforms.
Yep.
Can I ask a question about their antennae? How do they make them move?
I do appreciate that effect. I thought about that during the episode.
Are you acting cinematically?
Yeah, how does it work from a makeup perspective? Is there a little, are they remote controlled? Because they seem to move together.
I would assume that they are on some kind of they're either battery powered or whatever, and that they have a couple of patterns that they move in that they just kind of randomly pick between.
Maybe
because they look good. They do move. They move pretty impressively, almost uncomfortably so. But if you watch, they're not moving in sync to anything that's actually happening. They're just kind of moving.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Because if you watch Strange New Worlds, that albino Andorian guy, his antennae are clearly CGI because they are very reactive to what is happening around him.
Right. Yeah. Mm. So Shran is there to rescue Archer, and T'Pol kind of as payback because he can't sleep at night. He doesn't like to be indebted to somebody else, and he needs a good night's sleep, so he needs to pay them back.
Shran also, big boy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
He's a big boy.
Yeah. See, this is why he connects so well with Archer. They're both doers, man.
They're both big boys. Yeah.
Yeah. Trip calls Archer on his flashing device that was found in the bowl, and tells him about the plan. We then go to the planet, and Trip wanders up to the gate. And I guess they have Texas accents on this planet because those guards do not comment at all on how on how Trip sounds. But he brought booze, so I guess that's okay.
Yeah, my note here is that worked. Because he's like, boy, I don't know what's going on around here, but it sure would be nice if I had a nip of this here whiskey. How about you? You want some whiskey? And the guard's like, sure, I'll take whiskey. And that was like the end of the whole conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. I mean, I get it. Free beer or whatever. So as Trip is distracting the guards, the Andorians sneak in and, incapacitate the guards in the wall. And then all of a sudden, explosions! The Vulcan assault team bursts through the wall in a much cooler way, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, but much less stealthy, though, because the Andorians are doing a good fucking job. Like, they are dispatching people one by one. They're methodical. The Vulcans
Very
are
commando
like,
style.
Fuck this shit, and they just blow their way through.
Mm-hmm. So the Vulcan attack starts. The team rescues the prisoners. Shran says his debt is paid and he can get a good night's sleep. Damn it!
I'm a big boy.
Yeah. We then go out, and then it's Mexican standoff time between the Andorians and the humans and the Vulcans.
There's the part where the Vulcan very slowly lowers his laser bazooka and fires it, and it's just like, what the fuck is he doing?
That's right. That's why they had to cut the original CG scene so they could save the money for the laser effects in this fight.
For the laser bazooka, yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Laser bazooka.
Yeah. So the rebel faction is eventually taken out, and the Andorians and the Vulcans are kind of in this standoff, and then we go into slow-mo time, and the one rebel leader wakes up and grabs his gun, and we get a slow-mo T'Pol dive in front of the Vulcan captain. It was very dramatic.
Yeah, then Shran took that fucker out with a dual-wield phaser shot.
Right.
So badass. The Andorians do not fuck around.
Yeah. Archer, is very concerned about T'Pol and says, "This is my woman. I'm taking her back to the Enterprise. Damn it.
I'm a big boy."
I'm a big boy. For medical treatment, of course, not for weird sex stuff like they were.
No, he already did that in the fucking tie-up shed.
Yep. So we eventually get to the med bay on the Enterprise, and Archer waxes poetic about T'Pol and kind of convinces Sopek to leave T'Pol and agrees to speak on T'Pol's behalf to the High Council because she saved his life and whatnot, which was nice. And they don't outright say it, but it seems like they were definitely pretending she was more hurt than she was.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They knocked her out.
Yeah. They immediately wake her back up, and she's like, should have asked me first, but no, that's fine. Good job. The end.
Archer is so fucking pleased with himself. It's like the episode faded out to black with Archer going, "Hey, I'm a big boy." He's so fucking full of himself in this scene.
But Paul gets to say, so all is well in the end, I suppose.
I found their excuse for that to be complete contrived nonsense.
No, it's fine, man. I mean,
the Vulcan, I don't know. I don't buy
a Vulcan saved another Vulcan, so now everything's fine. I don't see what the problem
fuck
is.
does he care? That is an emotional response.
The whole thing about them caring about Pajem was also a contrived response. I don't know, man.
It was an episode.
It was.
It definitely episoded. This is not my favorite. I don't know why I thought this was a good one, from my memory of the title, but I was wrong. This is not a good episode.
It's because we got a lot of cool Shran action.
It's Shran. The problem is I like Shran because he's objectively badass. His entire thing in this whole thing was we have all kinds of networks with these people who are oppressed by the Vulcans because the Vulcans are assholes. I'm like, oh fuck, Shran's a fucking freedom fighter. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So, do you think that was actually true in this case?
I think so. Yeah. Because they had him
really
deliver. What's that?
Did you ever find out? If you did, I didn't catch it.
The implication, I think, was that the reason that the Vulcans like this planet is it involves some kind of mining and shipbuilding operation for them that they enjoy the fruits of, and I gather that the people in power were kept in power by the Vulcans because of these lucrative deals, even though they were oppressing their own populations.
Yeah, I think that's right.
That is the implication, because they talk about how, like, wow, outside of this very small modern city is just like miles and miles of shanty towns.
Right. Well, it's very, it's very proxy war, right? Like you have, the Vulcans on one side backing the regime in power, and then you have their actual, enemy backing the insurgent, faction.
Right. So, it felt very like an allegory for like banana republics and stuff.
Right. Well, any final thoughts on the episode before we hit the break?
It's just trash. It's just fucking trash.
Vote for Shran.
I'm a big boy.
Captain Tran. All right, we will be right back. All right, welcome back, everybody. So in this section, our deep dive, I wanted to take some time to discuss some recurring actors that appear in not just Enterprise or one particular series, but actors that have been cast over various iterations of Star Trek, and that play different characters. Star Trek kind of lives in this space where it's something that they can get away with because of all the makeup and stuff they can put on for various aliens, and you can't really tell that they're the same person as easily. Although with certain ones of these characters, they're not as much disguised as others. Mm-hmm. But I want to talk about this. Obviously, on this episode, we have Shran in it, who is played by one of the actors who appears many, many times in Star Trek over many different series, is Jeffrey Combs. Jeffrey Combs obviously plays Captain Shran, but that was not his first appearance in Star Trek. He actually first appeared in Star Trek in Deep Space Nine. And fun fact, he actually originally auditioned for the role in Next Generation of Commander Riker.
I get my problem is that I can only think of him as Shram. I do not think he would make a good fucking Riker.
Well, I think I agree with you. I think Jonathan Frakes was a good cast in that role. But it is funny to think about what that could have been.
I mean, it would have been cool if he was Shram, like he was an Andorian. That would have been amazing.
Mm-hmm. That would have been funny, yeah. He first appeared in Deep Space Nine in an episode that Frakes actually directed called Meridian, and cast Combs as an alien named Tyron. He later in DS9 also was a recurring... Go ahead.
Can you give like a very brief 1-sentence summary of that episode? Because I don't remember titles and shit like that.
I don't remember a lot of it, honestly. It's not one of the more memorable ones for me.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I'm going off of some facts I researched here. So, like, I see the picture of the alien who was. I'm like, oh yeah, I vaguely remember him. It was pretty mad. But later on in DS9, he is cast as a recurring character, Liquidator Brunt, the Ferengi. Who
that is him.
That is him. He is Liquidator Brunt. Yep. He is also in DS9 as Wei Yun and the various clones of Wei Yun of the why can't I think of their name? The Shapeshifters faction. Dominion.
The Dominion?
Yes. He is Wei Yun, who acts as kind of a commander for them and has various clones of Wei Yun. So he appears quite a bit in DS9. He also played a Ferengi named Krem later on in Enterprise. I think total he played 8 different characters over the various Star Trek shows. So he is a frequenter. But he is certainly not the only one who's played a number of different characters.
Wait, only 8 though?
Only 8?
Well, like 2 more, he gets the free sub.
You're right. He just didn't quite fill out that punch card. So there is also a number of other actors who appeared on various Star Treks as various different characters and mostly different aliens. Occasionally they'll appear as a human too. Tim Russ, who is obviously Tuvok on Voyager, played several characters as well. He first appeared in Next Generation in Starship Mine, which is the one where you have that baryon sweep going through Enterprise, and Captain Picard's kind of there on his own. He was one of the guys trying to steal from, something on the ship. I can't remember exactly what they were after, but he appears as not an alien make at all. He just looks like a human. So it's like, wait a second. Is this the same character? So headcanon here, he was establishing a criminal background so he could later, insert himself into the Maquis with a believable backstory. That's what I'm going with.
I remember Tim Russ's non-Tuvok appearance as him being in Star Trek Generations.
He was in Star Trek Generations as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's just like I think he has
background,
one line.
Yeah,
he's like a background crew member. He's a human background crew member.
He was also in Deep Space Nine as a Klingon mercenary named Takar, who was attempting to steal a symbiont from Lieutenant Dax.
Oh, okay.
So, you mentioned he appeared on Enterprise B in Star Trek Generations, and of course was on Voyager later. Armin Shimmerman is another actor who obviously played Quark on DS9, but he appeared in several other roles as well. He was actually the first Ferengi that appeared in Star Trek in Next Generation.
Really?
Mm-hmm, yep.
They did his makeup differently, I think.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. But he was one of the first Ferengi who appeared in...
So did he reprise that role for Voyager then? Because those two Ferengi from Next Generation show up in Voyager.
Quark does... He appears as Quark in Voyager.
He does appear as Quark in the first episode of Voyager, but those two Ferengi from Next Generation...
You're thinking of two different Ferengi.
Oh, they're...
Yeah, so the Ferengi that he was one of these ones on this planet they land on. They have these weird laser whips.
That one. Okay, yep. I forgot about that one. I was thinking the one where the two, they find the wormhole.
Uh-huh.
And they have to arbitrate.
Yes.
I forgot about the stupid
they do
laser
reappear,
whip
yes.
episode.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. But no, this is a different one. He also appears uncredited as a Betazoid gift box, where he's like this silver face thing when the box opens. It's very weird, but it was an uncredited role.
What?
Yes, I know. He also played a human sci-fi writer from the 1950s named Herbert Rossoff in DS9's Far Beyond the Stars episode. Where,
does that count? Because wasn't that?
Yeah, it counts.
It counts.
Was that a different role though? Because that's like it wasn't
I get
that
it.
like
I get it.
the characters from or the Wizard of Oz, it was her projection, right? Like
I get it. Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying.
That'd be like Brett Spiner also played fucking Sherlock Holmes in a couple episodes. No, he didn't. He played Data.
I get what you're saying. I do. So another actor that played a number of different roles is J.G. Hertzler, who played 7 different characters across multiple series as well as games. He was Martok in DS9. It was probably his most well-known character.
God damn it. I'm so bad at names. Who's Martok?
Martok is the kind of the Klingon commander who Worf is buddied up with and eventually adopts Worf into his family. He actually first appeared in Star Trek Deep Space Nine as a Vulcan captain who died in battle. Was his actual first appearance in Star Trek. And later he came back as Martok. He also played a changeling named Loss. Before he also made an appearance, of course, in the that one episode where they go back to the 50s, and it's that sci-fi writers' room. He's one of the artists there, and he appeared as 2 different Klingons on Star Trek Enterprise as well. So we will see him later. He actually voiced somebody in a Star Trek Lower Decks episode as well, Drukmani ship captain. There's so many. There's actually so many of them that I found that are in a lot of different ones. Kurtwood Smith played a number of different characters in Star Trek. Of course, probably one of the things he's most well known for is Red Foreman and that 70s show. But He appeared in a few different
Yes.
roles across different Star Trek series and movies.
He was in that
man.
Voyager Year of Hell
Yes.
two-parter that was awesome. Yeah, he was the main he played the main antagonist in that.
His first appearance was actually in Undiscovered Country as the president of the Federation of Planets. Funny, we were talking about that earlier.
That is funny.
Once again, it was a small role, but he did return years later on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, where he portrayed a Cardassian named Thrax in a Times Past episode. I don't remember a lot about that episode, to be honest.
I think it was like a flashback to what things were like before while the Cardassians were still...
He was the former security officer in charge of the station before Odo took over.
Oh, okay.
He also appeared in a Lower Decks episode as well. He was Klar from Katuvan Prime.
Klar!
Yep.
It's cool that they brought so many people back for Lower Decks.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. I remember watching, I'm like, hey, it's him. James Cromwell is one I think you have to touch on. He, of course, was Zephram Cochrane. But his first appearance was in Next Generation, where he was an Angosian prime minister named Nayrok, who was kind of at odds with some, enhanced soldiers who were trying to escape or take the planet back over or something. He was actually in one or two other Next Generation episodes. It was a two-part series called Birthright, where he was a Uridian information dealer. As well as he is on Deep Space Nine as well as a just random alien prime minister guy. So he was kind of more disguised in a lot of different things. But let's see, was there anyone else? Oh, I can't go without stating Majel Barrett Roddenberry has pretty much appeared in some form in, I think, pretty much every Star Trek series. She is, of course, in Next Generation Lwaxana Troi, as well as the computer's voice.
She's actually related to Gene Roddenberry?
It was his wife.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was actually... she first appeared in the original series, and was cast as the unnamed in the Cage, the initial pilot, as the Enterprise's unnamed first officer number 1. At the time, Barrett was actually romantically involved with Roddenberry, whose marriage was apparently on the verge of failing at the time, and the idea of having an otherwise unknown woman in that leading role. Just because she was the producer's girlfriend, apparently pissed off some people at the NBC network who insisted that Roddenberry give the role to a man, which, sure for the time. William Shatner actually corroborated that in Star Trek Memories and added that female viewers at the test screenings hated her character as well, which, wow.
Though, as the computer voice, she's like deliciously dry.
Yes.
It's weird how much personality that computer voice has.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, she's as that voice is obviously in various different films and TV series. So that's kind of how she made her way into almost every Star Trek, basically. Mm. At least until more recent series, of course, because she passed away in 2008, I believe.
Wow, she was doing this shit right up to the end then, because she's in Voyager all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. She was part of it for a long time. What's funny is Lwaxana Troi's character. Like, I remember the first time I watched Next Generation, I found her annoying, but as I've watched it later in life, I've related to her more.
Yeah, and she's a lot funnier when you're older. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. She's so much more.
Her DS9 stuff is pretty funny.
Yeah, her DS9. I do remember liking her in DS9 more than Next Generation initially, but even rewatching Next Generation now, I'm like, I found a new appreciation for her character.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, just there's more characters too. Like the guy who plays Admiral Forrest was a number of different aliens, various Klingons and Cardassians and Romulans.
Did you know that Soval had another role?
I did not.
Yes, I just saw him. His first appearance in Star Trek was in Voyager.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I saw him and I'm like, what is that guy look so fucking familiar? And yes, it is a younger Soval. He's an Okampan like leader in one episode.
Interesting. So yeah, this is one of the fun quirks of the Star Trek universe where you get to see these actors play so many different characters.
We should do at some point a segment of like the weird like occasional celebrity guest spots that have shown. I don't know if guest spot's the right word, but like
Rainn
non-Star Trek affiliated celebrities that were on Star Trek at various points.
That's another. I thought of that actually. Like,
yeah, that's gonna be that's it. Maybe I'll do that next time because like Jason Alexander is in an episode of Voyager.
Fun fact: did you know that in that episode of Next Generation where they like bring those people out of like cryosleep, whatever, and they're like from the 90s? Apparently, Robin Williams was cast as one of those characters initially, but had to cancel to film Hook. I just learned this the other day.
That would have been really funny.
Right?
It would have been funny if they named him Mork.
He was supposed to be some like fast talking car salesman guy or something.
Huh.
We were denied Robin Williams in Star Trek, and I'm disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for the deep dive section. After our break, we will have a little bit of potpourri.
All right, welcome back. So today for Potpourri, I'm in charge, and so far, Chris has run like 3 various trivia kind of adjacent challenges. So today I came up with one. I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know how well this is going to work. I know how it's going to work. I came up with like a category trivia game. So today we are answering the question, alien, drug, or instrument.
Alien, drug, or instrument?
Oh, no.
Yes, I am going to give you the name of either an alien from Star Trek, a drug, or an instrument that exists in the real world. And you have to tell me what it is. You have to tell me which category it belongs to.
Okay, so alien in Star Trek, or real world drug, or real world instrument.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, an instrument meaning like a musical instrument, not
Yes.
like
a tool.
like a scalpel. Yeah. I'll keep track of your score. I have 20 of these. Okay. I don't think it's going to be, we'll see how it goes. I did start it out easy to give you like some gimmies. But then we will go from there. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So, I'm going to put the word the in front of all of them just to keep things even.
Okay.
So the first one is the Andorian.
Okay. Alien.
Alien.
Okay. The castanet.
That's an instrument.
The instrument.
Good. So I do have like a little blurb for each. So obviously the Andorians we've talked about, they're the blue aliens, the antennas. A castanet is consists of a pair of concave shells joined on one edge by a string. They make clacky noises in a lot of like Iberian and other Mediterranean coastal areas. This is a pretty cool instrument, actually.
Mm-hmm.
The Tylenol.
That's a drug.
Yep. It's for headaches and such, is my blurb for that. Okay. The Malon.
Alien.
Malon. Shit. Oh, it's a drug.
Okay, it is an alien. Rob got that one right. The Malon were a warp-capable humanoid species from Malon Prime in the Delta Quadrant, first encountered by the Voyager.
It would be a Voyager alien as your first actual question.
You know what's funny?
I think you were thinking of Malox, Chris.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. That is what I'm thinking of.
You know what's funny is that I was like in the list. So like my first actual alien that I picked was just like where I happened to be in the alphabet.
That's funny.
So, all right. The Melcot.
Oh, God.
For some reason, I think that's an instrument.
It sounds like an instrument, but I'm going to say alien.
It is an alien. So,
Damn it.
Melcots or Melcotians were a telepathic xenophobic civilization. They used their telepathic powers to punish aliens who encroached on their space without permission. A typical Melcot appeared to physically float without a body. It had a bulbous head and a pair of very bright circular eyes. This is a TOS thing. I'd never heard of.
Oh, okay. Yep. That's why I don't remember, because I don't know a lot from that series.
Okay. The Tycho.
Is that an instrument?
What are the options? It's alien instrument.
Alien, drug, or instrument.
Alien, drug, or instrument. I'm going to go with instrument.
Chris?
Instrument.
Okay. Oh, you were a little hesitant. That one is an instrument. It is a type of drum from Japan. Taiko drum.
That one I knew. Yeah.
All right. The Mintaken.
That's an alien.
Alien. Yes.
Proto-Vulcans that were Bronze Age something.
I watched that episode not that long ago.
All right. The Codeine.
Drug.
Drug.
Good.
I feel like I have an unfair advantage here.
Oh, yes.
Cough
That's why
syrup.
when you're like, I'm going to fail this, I'm like, we'll see. We'll see.
Oh, I guess for those of the viewers who aren't aware, I used to be a pharmacy tech, not a drug dealer.
I mean, tomato.
Yeah, I guess it was
You're
a legal drug dealer.
Yeah.
Codeine is an opiate, kind of like a morphine. I don't know enough to give any more information than that.
It's common in kind of prescription strength cough syrups.
Yep. All right. The Propirum.
Say it again.
The Propirum.
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 Gosh, I don't know. Rob, what's your guess? I'm gonna go off you. Drug.
It is a drug.
Boom.
Oh my god.
Propirum is a partial mu opioid receptor. Well, we're going to find out real close how I don't know any medical words. Receptor agonist and weak mu antagonist analgesic from the ampramide family of drugs related to other drugs such as, oh boy, phenapramide and diampramide.
What's the generic?
The Erum tickled my ears about it being a drug.
I don't have a catalog in front of me, Rob. I grabbed the first 2 sentences from Wikipedia. I don't know. All right.
Yeah, that was real close. The
Trill.
Oh, it's an alien.
Alien.
Okay, yes. That is Dax. Dax is a Trill.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They have a symbiote and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
The Adungu.
Instrument?
Alien.
It is an instrument. The Adungu, also called the Ekidongo or the Anenga, is a stringed instrument of the Allure people from northwestern Uganda. It is remarkable, apparently, because it is very similar to a harp, although it has absolutely no common ancestry with it.
Interesting.
That's cool.
Very cool. All right, next one. The Fujara.
Alien.
You're both incorrect.
Is it an instrument?
The Fujara is also an instrument. The Fujara, which is apparently Slovak, is a large wind instrument of the Tabor pipe class. Tabor would also be a good one. Mm-hmm. It originated in central Slovakia as a sophisticated folk shepherd's overtone fipple flute of unique design in the contrabass range. Well, apparently I don't know a lot about music either, because those are a lot of words I have never heard before. All right. The Zarentine.
Instrument.
Okay, once again, that is incorrect.
Damn it.
Oh, no.
Zarentine are an alien.
That was my initial thought, too. And then he said instrument. I'm like, instrument.
Were a space-faring species near the Klingon space. The Klingons consider the Zarentine to be no match for them. They were actually mentioned in the last Enterprise episode where they had to go on the gas giant atmosphere to rescue the Klingon ship.
Man, even last episode, we're bad.
Mm-hmm.
We
Zarentine.
are bad.
It was like a offhanded dialogue.
It was a throwaway
it felt like
line,
they were
yeah.
actually there.
Yeah.
Zarentine. Okay, next one. Tilidine. The Tilidine.
Drug?
Oh, boy. You know what? I think that's right. Yeah, drug.
It is a drug.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh, this one's got your brand names. Tilidine, Laert, or Tilidate. Brand names Tilidin, Valorin, Titova, that keeps going, is a synthetic opioid painkiller. Mainly used in Albania, Belgium, Bulgaria, Germany, Luxembourg, South Africa, and Switzerland.
Interesting.
So that was Zarentine, Tilidine, the tambourine.
It's an instrument.
Yes, it is an instrument.
You just
I
wanted
like
to
those
put
three
one of
because
them right,
they were all similar. The tambourine is, of course, a round frame with little metal discs in it that you shake and do hippie stuff with.
Hippie stuff, yes.
The peyote.
That's a drug.
Yes.
Yes, peyote is a drug. Small spineless cactus which contains psychoactive alkaloids. Apparently, peyote is the Spanish word derived from the Nahuatl peyotl, meaning caterpillar cocoon.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
from
That's
the
fun.
root peony, to glisten. So it's like a shiny caterpillar cocoon.
Sure.
Okay. The tenugan.
Oh. Man, these are not easy. Alien?
Yeah, they started easy.
Tenugan. Instrument.
It is an alien.
Damn it.
Intelligent humanoid species and civilization from the planet Tenuga.
What is that? What series
Naturally.
is that in?
I don't know. I was going through the list of alien species on Memory Alpha. I tried to find ones where there was an actual picture, so which means that they were in an episode, but like I don't know specifically.
Okay.
Okay, next one. The Binar.
Alien.
Alien.
Would you say, Rob?
Also alien.
Okay, yes, they are an alien. Cybernetically enhanced humanoids native to Binus of the Beta Magellan system. That was a TNG episode.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last one. The Horta.
The Horta. I'm going to go with instrument this time.
What are you thinking, Rob?
Instrument.
Okay, it is an alien.
Boom.
Sentient, non-humanoid silicon cycle life form native to the planet Janus 6. There is
More
an
like
episode of
anus
the
six.
there's an episode of the original series where there's like this crystal blob thing that Spock has to mind meld with. It is that.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah. It's like one of the 4 episodes of that show I saw.
Hmm.
All right, you guys did good on that. I wasn't sure if that would work out okay or not. You did well, but you didn't do like so well that I was like, oh man, this was a failure.
I do this to make them look stupid.
Well, I didn't want to make you look stupid, but like it's no fun if it's too easy, right?
Yeah.
Out
There's
of
some tough ones in
20,
there.
out of 20, you both got 14.
Oh, nice.
A different
Yeah.
14 because there were some where you disagreed on,
Uh-huh.
but in the end, you both summed to 14. So
Yeah,
congratulations.
I was keeping track in my head, and I was pretty sure we were tied up.
That's funny. Yeah, we wound up in this weird situation, Stanford, when we graduated. For our listeners, my rabbit's behind me throwing a fit right now. 1 second.
But
For our listeners, Chris and I went to the same high school, and with another one of our friends, we finished like 3 in a row in our class rankings. It was super weird.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. That's funny.
was it like first, second, and third, like some losers, or was it just like in the middle of the pack or whatever?
No, we were like in the 140s or 150s. We had like a class of close to 900 though.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, wow, holy fuck, because that would have been like the bottom of my class.
Yeah. Yeah. We had, like, I think when you, like, the tech school that graduated with us, like at the time, they were like it was like weird. It was like part of our graduation. It was like well over 1,000.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So that is all I had. And I think, does anyone else have anything else before I close this out?
No.
I'll take that as a no. All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Once again, please do, subscribe to our podcast, leave us a rating, a review, if you would be so kind. We're looking for those 5 stars. And if you leave a cool review or a funny review or even like a really mean review, we'll read it on the pod because that's the kind of people we are.
Just remember, we are 5-star men.
Even if we're big boys. We're the big boys. Even if you don't like us, a 5-star review would be pretty cool. Like, I don't care if you're going to lie. We will be back next week, same time, and we really appreciate you listening to us. So hopefully you have a good rest of your day.
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to Captain's Log Supplemental. You can follow us on Twitter at PodCLS or send us hate mail at podcls3@gmail.com.